The Child Growth Foundation was set up in 1977, primarily to champion the cause of children who had growth problems. The Child Growth Foundation is basically interested in the correct measurement and recording of children. That begins at birth, and we need to have correctly at birth a head circumference measurement, a length measurement, and a weight measurement. And if we can get those three well done by midwives, then it's my belief that the future of children will be in far better shape than it has been up until now. The importance of measuring head circumference is that you should be able to identify the fast expanding head as soon as possible. And that is really vital because of water on the brain, and it has connotations of mental retardation. And therefore you need to measure the head in the correct position 3 times within the first 6 weeks of life. Now, as far as the midwives are concerned, you should be leaving about 24 to 30 hours before you take your first one to make sure that the head has remolded after delivery. And then, in conjunction with the health visitor, measure it again before the midwife loses responsibility at 28 days. Then the third measurement is taken by the GP at the GP check, and then you have a really good series of measurements on which you can base a referral or not, as the case may be.
Organizations like Child Growth Foundation are passionate and enthusiastic, and they facilitate working group study days and conferences where they invite other professional, often multi-professional working groups to discuss these issues.
Weight is the most important measurement after delivery. You need to know really what's been going on for the 9 months that the child has been in the womb, and this is the first real opportunity to see if it is being born at a sensible size for revival. If the child is very low birth weight, then certain actions have to be taken. So accuracy at delivery is absolutely vital, and in this midwives are extremely good if they use the right equipment. Unfortunately, there is a thing called baby wear, which a lot of community midwives used to use and has now been outlawed by the European Directive on Weighing Scales. But I would imagine that 99.9% of midwives know that now of self-zeroing electronic non-mechanic scale is the right one to use. And then a series of measurements in the first year of life is absolutely obligatory. There should be basically 5 measurements in the first year of life, and certainly one of those will fall right inside the remit of the midwife.
I've attended a seminar before led by a Tam Fry and was encouraged to come again today. He has a very inimitable style. He's extremely enthusiastic and very passionate about his cause, and rightly so.
Well, I've now got you as 4 millimeters more. The most vital thing in our estimation is that midwives should take on board the measurement of length. Unfortunately, historically, midwives have not measured length with the appropriate equipment or even in the appropriate fashion.
When I did my training a number of years ago, we were taught to measure babies using tape measures, and we would run the tape measure from the top of the baby's head along its body, round into its knees and to the sole of its feet. We realised that that was very inaccurate, and we actually stopped measuring babies a few years back in this unit, so it's not been part of our routine examination for a while.
That is not the way to measure a baby. I understand fully the difficulties of the labour ward, but there is now equipment which they can use quite easily in a labour ward at the same time that they're taking weight. And essentially all they need to do is to take the baby out of the weighing scale, nude as it will be with the accompaniment of the mother, lie it down supinely on its back in the correct fashion, and then take a length. They don't have to be so accurate because length at this stage is the other half of the failure to thrive or the over-nutrition equation.
As some of the practitioners, midwives especially, started to stop measuring the length at birth, organizations like the Child Growth Foundation became aware that this practice was disappearing from many of the units, and they had a concern as they felt it is an extremely important measurement for public health records and also as a screening for certain metabolic conditions.
With the rollometer equipment, after a modicum of training, it is very easy to take a length.
Using the rollometer was really easy. I didn't have any problems at all.
The Child Growth Foundation course has something that other courses don't. It's delivered by Tam Fry, who's passionate about growth, and that passion and that enthusiasm rubs off on everyone who attends that course.
I actually wrote an article discussing the practicalities of adding or restarting measuring the length at birth, since we had been doing it for years. Is something that we really need to debate in the midwifery community, because I don't think it adds really to the workload. The question is, do you have the right equipment and are you trained to use the right equipment and tools?
I was really happy to see Mervyn Jokin of the Royal College of Midwives at one of the seminars that I was giving. She saw the advantages of measurement, of plotting and everything. She sat down, wrote an article, I read it, I loved it, I wrote a reply to it. I'd like to go on with Mervyn Jokin until the end of the earth, just in that fashion, because I think that she, on behalf of midwives, has grasped the benefit to children of doing what we are suggesting.
It's often organisations like the Child Growth Foundation who are passionate about specific topics that bring multi-professional dimension to their working groups and conferences to discuss matters of measurement and screening of newborn and children in general. And I think it was the opportunity to attend one of these working groups that raised the issue of our own practice. And I think we have to welcome sometimes an external organisation to remind us how we do things or what we do within our practice.